Adele, and today we're going to be talking about a bit like to get to know you basically. So how did you fall into a career in Pilates?
So I've been in the health and fitness industry for about 25 years, and I was a dancer for many years, like most little ones were when I was a child, up until about the age of 20. And I came across Pilates through some of my dancing, and also when I was doing my fitness, I used to do quite a lot of high intensity work, and a lot of my clients were finding they were getting injured through other classes, and they weren't finding that the high intensity was always the best fit for their body. And so I, for me, tried out some more Pilates sessions because I wanted to be able to feed back to my clients about how I found it, because I was quite high intensity with running and body pump and spin and just doing lots of cardio, lots of aerobics. And I just found that Pilates was really calming, that it was a different strengthening exercise compared to any I'd done before, but it also left me feeling really lengthened, and posturally as a dancer it was fantastic and really helped continue with that maintenance of posture and muscle balance as well. And being a nurse too, I just felt it was very holistic and it kind of fit with my whole ethos of the way I wanted to work for myself and also with my clients.
Oh, perfect. So what kind of clients do you usually work with?
So I have a real interest in women's health, so I'm a women's health specialist, working a lot with pre and postnatal, and also with women who are coming into the perimenopause to the postmenopausal stages of life. But I also have a real interest in working with runners, because having been running myself for many years, I enjoy being able to assess and then help with any rehab or injury recovery, and also to do injury prevention is like a huge important thing for me as a runner. So I try to incorporate that into a lot of the work I do with my clients, both male and female runners. I know that obviously women's health is a purely women's specialism, but I do work obviously a lot with the male runners, and also with male pelvic health. I think that when we talk about pelvic health, we assume it's always women, but men equally have a pelvic floor, which I don't think we think about as often. So I do work a lot with pelvic health in general, as well as the specialism with women. So a quite varied range, and I'm also a breast cancer rehab specialist. And again, that can be both men and women, it doesn't have to be purely for women. So it's very holistic, but also quite sport performance related client base that I like to work with.
As well, so with kind of when you're encouraging clients to engage with Pilates, do you ever find that they have kind of some misunderstandings or reservations, and how do you kind of help them tackle?
Yeah, I think if you've never experienced Pilates ever, you do assume it's purely a stretch class, and that it's easy and that you won't gain any benefits from it unless you want to stretch. Or people assume that if you're not bendy, you can't do it because you can't get into the positions and different exercise movement patterns. But actually, it's trying to explain to people that Pilates is for everybody, and it has a different focus for each individual. So you may come to a class thinking, okay, I want to run a half marathon, but I know that my hips are quite tight. I'm just going to stretch myself out and get the Pilates teacher just to give me more length in my legs. But then when you're actually in the class, you appreciate using the different bits of equipment, how many other benefits you get from it. So I think it's just allowing them to come in with quite an open mind and just letting them experience it for themselves, but just saying to them, you do need to try and give it a couple of sessions to feel it in your body, and then as you feel and notice the subtle improvements, you then start to see the bigger benefits and the bigger gains. So it's allowing them to have that sort of open mind, but then gently, not persuading them, but gently just showing them that actually Pilates can be really tough. It can be very, very dynamic, very powerful, and on the flip side, it can be quite rehabilitative and quite restorative. So yeah, it's just getting them to see the different spectrums of it.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of specific client experience where you can think to yourself, oh, that's so rewarding that I managed to see that progress or change?
Yeah, there's been a couple of different scenarios. One with a postnatal woman who, after her first baby, she had pelvic floor issues, she had prolapse problems, she had tummy gap, which is quite significant. And after her first 6 sessions, the tummy gap had completely closed. She was much more aware of her pelvic alignment and her posture. And it's just that by introducing different breath patterns and movement patterns, and for her, it was more like functional motherhood movement patterns. So that was incredible. And we could monitor and measure her progress, and so that for her to physically feel it and see it was great. And again, for a guy that I was working with who was a runner who had an Achilles injury, just by strengthening up his legs, but also stretching, and him noticeably seeing how much more he could do each week, and then slowly getting him back to run, and then seeing how we could do a 5k run without any pain, to then do a 10k, so just slowly monitoring his external progress as well as the progress here was really good.
Yeah, it's amazing. Do you have like a particular favourite movement from Pilates?
For some ridiculous reason, I actually love teaser.
Okay.
Which is actually quite a challenge, and I think it's because it is a challenge, and I think you have to approach it with a lot more softness in your body than I think people assume. It's like a real deep core strength, which you do need to have a good understanding of your core connection. But I find that a lot of people get very tense and they just connect from the wrong places, and when you let the movement freely flow, actually it feels fantastic. I also, on this lovely bit of equipment, I love the hanging upside down as well, which looks lovely. Both of them, so in different positions, so one's coming up and one's stretching out, so yeah, it's nice to do both of them, so they're kind of my favourites.
And do you have like kind of like a nemesis, or like one that you think, no, I want to avoid that?
So, and here is one which is called a parakeets, which is where your feet are up, your hips up, and you're pushing the bar through. Like, you always get cramped, which drives me insane. That is a bit of a nemesis for me at the minute. I'm working on that. I'm sure there's probably a few of them, but that one springs to mind straight away. But yeah, I just need to get a bit more into that one myself, I think.
Do you have like a specific achievement or accomplishment that kind of comes to mind when you think about the progress you've made, because you've been doing Pilates now for a while? Like, how do you have one kind of standout movement that you can come to mind?
I think teaser actually is a real accomplishment for me, because I've had 2 children, and my second birth was not the easiest in the world, and it actually left me with a diastasis, with a tummy gap, which then I had to have surgery to put a mesh over it, because I ended up getting hernia, which is a bit of a pain. So I felt very, very strongly that I needed to get my core connection back, because I know how important it is. And teaser, when I started doing it, I was quite scared of it, because it's a lot of it is deep core connection, but I think because I was scared of it, I ended up doing what I try to persuade my clients not to do, is gripping with my hips and with my glutes and everything. So eventually, when I found actually I've got a bit more softness and a bit more trust in my own body, that now I actually really enjoy it. And I do find it challenging still, but it's just knowing where to release in your body and how to have a good pelvic alignment, and just the breath as well. Using the breath is so important. And through all of my work with women's health, the men, or whoever, I try to really incorporate breath, because I think your movement starts from there, and it's very crucial to understand the breath pattern can actually help you. So yeah, I think teaser. Nemesis, sometimes there's a second one. Sometimes it is, but it's also one that I actually really, really enjoy.
Perfect. And what would you say to someone that's kind of about to start Pilates and a bit scared? How would you kind of encourage them to?
I would say come to it with an open mind. Don't have too many expectations on yourself, and understand that you need to feel the foundations, the fundamental movements in your body first, to then start to progress and build on that. And if you have a goal in mind, or a success that you want to achieve, then you know that you can work towards that. But along the way, there might be things that you discover in your body that you weren't aware of, and it's not to feel disheartened or disappointed, but just to keep pushing through that, and you will definitely see the benefits, the progress in yourself, and to see that if you've not done it, it is a different movement class to other forms of exercise, but you can work equally as hard, in fact harder, in a Pilates class than you can in some of the cardio classes that you find out there. And yeah, to come with a friend if you want to, you know, just to start with a one-to-one with an instructor who knows you're new to Pilates, just so they can explain more to you, so you don't feel, if you're coming into a class scenario, you don't feel intimidated. So starting on a more personal basis, I think, is a great way as well to begin.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I think that's all.